The girl's voice was barely louder than the rain tapping against the glass roof of the train station, yet the words cut through the crowd like a blade. "Ma'am, I know that missing child." The millionaire woman froze mid-step, her designer heels planted on the cold marble floor, her breath catching as if the world itself had suddenly stopped moving. People rushed past them with suitcases and coffee cups, announcements echoed overhead, but for her, everything went silent. If this story touches your heart even once, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and stay with us until the very end, because what unfolds next will change everything. Evelyn Hart had learned to survive by keeping her emotions locked behind steel walls. As one of the country's most powerful businesswomen, she was used to controlling rooms, negotiating billion-dollar deals in public spaces like this very station lounge, where reporters often hovered and investors waited for her nod. But today, she was not here for business. A massive digital screen above the ticket counters displayed the same image she had seen every day for 11 years, a little boy with curious eyes and a crooked smile. "Have you seen this child?" The caption read, "Her son, Lucas, taken from a crowded city plaza during a charity festival and never found." Evelyn came to the station every year on this date, standing among strangers, believing that if she stayed visible, if she stayed present in the world, fate might finally notice her persistence. She donated millions to search efforts, funded shelters, put his face on billboards, buses, and screens like this one. Yet every night, she returned to an empty penthouse and an ache that money could never touch. People admired her strength, not knowing it was built from grief layered so thick it had hardened into silence. The girl who had spoken stood a few feet away, soaked from the rain, clutching a worn backpack to her chest. She looked about 12, maybe 13, with eyes too old for her face and hands rough from work no child should have to do. Evelyn slowly turned, her heart pounding so violently she thought she might collapse. "What did you say?" she whispered, her voice trembling in a way no boardroom had ever heard. The girl swallowed. "I know him. Or, I think I do. He used to sing to calm himself when he was scared." Evelyn's knees buckled, and she reached for a nearby bench, her body finally surrendering to the weight she had carried for over a decade. Lucas used to sing, soft, tuneless hums, whenever thunder scared him or crowds overwhelmed him. No one outside their family knew that. Security guards noticed the commotion, and curious travelers slowed, forming a loose circle around them. Evelyn didn't care. For the first time in years, hope burned brighter than fear. "Tell me everything," she said, tears streaming freely now. "Please." The girl's name was Maya. She explained that she lived in the underground passages near the old market square, not far from where Lucas had vanished. She was part of a group of forgotten children, runaways, orphans, kids who slipped through the cracks of a city too busy to notice. Years ago, a boy had been brought to them by a man who paid adults to look the other way. The boy had been frightened, well-spoken, and clearly not from the streets. He talked about his mother often. About her perfume. About the way she read to him in voices. He was called Lucky by the group because he believed, no matter what, that his mom would find him. Evelyn sobbed openly now, her hands covering her face as memories flooded back. Lucas calling himself lucky because he had the best mom in the world. The crowd had grown silent, many wiping their eyes, strangers united by a shared human moment in this bustling public place where stories usually passed unnoticed. "Where is he?" Evelyn asked, her voice cracking. "Is he alive?" Maya hesitated, pain flickering across her face. "I don't know where he is now. Some people came years later and took him away. But I never forgot him. And when I saw his face up there," she pointed to the screen. "I knew." That night, Evelyn did something she had never done before. Instead of returning to her guarded life, she sat with Maya at a small cafe inside the station, ignoring calls from assistants and executives. Over cups of cheap hot chocolate, Maya shared more fragments, names, places, routines. Clues that had never surfaced before. Evelyn listened, not as a billionaire, but as a mother clinging to every word. The search reopened with renewed urgency, but this time, it was different. Evelyn insisted on being present, not from behind desks or press releases, but on the streets, in shelters, markets, and transit hubs. She spoke to people face to face, listening to stories she had once been too distant to hear. And slowly, painfully, the city began to respond. Tips came in. Patterns emerged. A man was arrested. Records uncovered. Months later, in another public place, a crowded community hall filled with cameras, volunteers, and ordinary citizens, Evelyn stood trembling as a tall, quiet young man stepped forward. His eyes were the same. Older now, scarred by life, but unmistakably Lucas. When their eyes met, time collapsed. He didn't need words. Neither did she. They ran to each other, the room erupting into tears and applause as a mother and son finally came home. Lucas spoke later, standing beside his mother, his voice steady despite the emotion. He talked about survival, about kindness from strangers, about how one girl had remembered him when the world forgot. Evelyn held Maya's hand tightly, knowing that without her courage, this moment would never have existed. In the end, Evelyn transformed her pain into purpose. She built safe centers in public spaces, stations, markets, plazas, where vulnerable children could be seen, protected, and heard. She used her wealth not to shield herself, but to connect. And every year, on the anniversary of Lucas's disappearance, she returned to the station, not to mourn, but to remind the world that hope can speak in the softest voice. Sometimes, it sounds like a child saying, "Ma'am, I know that missing child." And sometimes, if we listen closely enough, it leads us home. If this story moved you, inspired you, or reminded you of the power of compassion, please like the video, subscribe to the channel, and share it, because you never know whose voice might be waiting to be heard.